Hey everyone, I wanted to give you a look at some custom vehicles for the cyberpunk district underneath my Lego city. These are things that I have built live over on Twitch, but I realized I had not brought up as regular videos, to just kind of show you the entire thing done really quickly over here on YouTube. So my apologies for taking so long on that. Let me go through these fairly quickly, starting with the easiest one, which is technically not new. You probably, I believe, have seen this before. Hopefully I've shown this before in video form, but it's been updated. So this was a kind of a collaborative build with viewers. It took quite a long time and had a lot of iteration involved in it, but in the end I wasn't completely satisfied with it, so I've just updated it, making the back a little bit simpler, a lot smaller. Might change out the window at some point. I thought it looked good at the time, but I might just bring that down even a little bit further. And it's just a little bit more straightforward looking now. Has some notes of good old Dodge Daytona, I think from the front, like the 90s Dodge Daytona, coupe. And yeah, again, nothing serious there. This started with the parts from an official Lego City build, and I just wanted to convert it into something that was custom, and so it ended up being completely built from scratch. Let me show you something completely different. And now for something completely different. This is a custom build that I did for a patron who goes by the name, well, this particular version of her sig fig goes by the name of Lady MacBrick. And she wanted to have a figure, it's her second figure in the city. This one goes into the cyberpunk district, and she wanted to be driving around on something or riding like a scooter or something. And I decided to finally let go and allow myself to do something truly fantasy based, something more sci-fi based. So I said, you know what? I'm going to allow for repulsor lift craft. And then I built this. As you can see, it's based around one of those Friends scooters, just to get things centered and to give me some spots where I could connect to things, and everything is built from there. I probably, let's see, should I or should I not take out that wheel right there? I don't know. I might try it afterwards and just let the whole thing sit a little bit lower. But I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. It kind of pushes the envelope a little bit. I don't know exactly how it would be powered, but it feels like something from, well, basically the worlds that I've taken inspiration from for the cyberpunk district. The figure fits in there just fine. Colors, I think, are interesting enough. I would like to add a sticker or two to this to add even more detail to it, but I think it makes enough sense, and I'm decently happy about it. So this one is not going to be modified further at this time. I'll take you to something with, yet again, a completely different start, a completely different reason for existing. If you know immediately. And this is based on Han Solo's speeder from the Han Solo movie. And to make this, I started with the official Lego set and tore parts off of it and made something completely new. So I used a official Han Solo speeder as a parts donor for this only, but it is not based on the actual build of that set. This has wheels underneath, so I wanted to just take that speeder, and I could probably do something a little bit better for the undercarriage of this. Sorry about the focus that really doesn't want to stay. I could probably do something better for the undercarriage, but are you ever going to see it again after just then? Probably not. I wanted this to be roughly like a modern Speed Champions car version of that made up speeder, which itself was inspired by some 1960s American muscle cars. So it's kind of like just taking the whole thing full circle and turning it back into a car. I wanted to have the same color scheme, the same look, and I just figured this would look really good in my cyberpunk district. And I'm happy with how this one turned out as well. It has the asymmetry to it, which I really like. Getting that front end in there with that one headlight on that one side, I was really happy about. Very satisfied with that. These could probably be aligned a little bit better, those two prints right there. And the track width of the wheels is ridiculously narrow. But I like being able to see, the most important thing to me was that it look right, but be scaled down appropriately to a size that would fit in my city. not my city, but my cyberpunk district underneath my city, and I wanted it to have wheels. I wanted to have 4 wheels, and I accomplished all of those things. I'm actually happier with how this looks than I needed to be. That sticker right there was one that I didn't apply, so that's why it's off. Its angle is off a little bit, but overall, this is another one I'm pretty happy with. Everything does fit together respectably well. I like the back end of it as well. Getting the tail lights on there, I think was right. I think was a good decision. They're not quite aligned perfectly. One of them's a little bit up, one of them's a little bit down. But all in all, yeah, satisfied with it. Got the asymmetrical wing in there. I'm happy. It just accomplishes everything that I wanted to do with it. The only thing that could be definitely objectively better is the seating arrangement. It could, to me, for what I needed, for what I wanted, it could have been set up to have 2 people able to sit in there. However, I probably would have had to make the whole thing wider or cut out some of the proper proportioning of it. So I'm okay with this. I may actually add in some little detail on the dash. I just realized that when I started messing around with it in the studio here, that it could use something right on those 2 studs there to add a little bit of additional greebling. But for now, so it's a good first effort. But what I like most out of this lineup that I started out with is this, because this is a total scratch build, 100% scratch build. And I approached this not even knowing where I was going with it. I just started putting pieces together, and I let the inspiration flow from the pieces themselves. And I changed direction a number of times with where this was going, how it was going. If I recall correctly, this started out also as an official Lego city set, just a basic city car that was, practically a side build from something. It was just a very, very minimal car. I just used it as a parts donor and turned this into something entirely different. I like the shaping. I like how this comes up on the side and it culminates all at the wing there. Getting a little bit of teal in it, I think, worked out nice. Just a little bit of it along the sides, and then also on the front. Having the bull bar on the front, just feels appropriate to me for cyberpunk stuff, mixed together some super sleek, futuristic, computerized looking stuff, some 80s futurism with a little bit of post-apocalyptic, build something up all nice and sleek and then remove some of its body panels and show just some frame beneath, show some tubes and some framing, some plumbing, show some of the stuff underneath, and then paste some additional things onto it, like the side pipes over here, just cause. I think that's the way to do it, and I'm happy with how this one in particular turned out with all of that. This does have a cockpit in there. There is a person in there. I don't remember the proper way to get this open, but it is possible to open this up. So I think I'm just gonna tear it up. Oh, there we go. No, that's fine enough for now. This whole windscreen here, old windscreen, is angled back just slightly because it is on a hinge there, but it's not able to go very far. But it's enough to make a good slope right here overall. I think a good transition. There's the driver who's held in by a harness and is looking up. It's looking up at a screen, like a heads-up display that's practically on the ceiling, built into the ceiling. And then I used a little bit of 1980s. Actually, that started before the 80s, but last time I remember it, and when I first saw it being used a lot, was in the 80s. On the backs of, I guess it's late 70s and into the mid 80s for the backs of some especially import hatchbacks. Toyota Celica used this. I think there was a Nissan that used that sort of tiered, layered spoiler / shade for a rear window kind of look. But here it just helps with the transition down back to the axle level here. This probably could have had more detail here, but I kind of like having the axles just so exposed like that. So exposed, almost like a little bit of the tail end of an older Formula One car. Like this is the back of the transmission right here is the feeling I really get out of this. So I didn't want to put too much detail back here just for the sake of detail. Just mix things up a bit. Happy with how it turned out. And each of these vehicles is going straight into the Cyberpunk district after this video, as I clear out the studio here and make space for more stuff. Hope you enjoyed looking at these. Thank you for watching. More stuff to come as I make more time to work on more custom stuff and to also work on the city and for all of my live building in the city. If it's going to be stuff where I'm working super slow and getting very little done because it's tiny little details I'm working on. Some of it might be done only on Patreon, but most of the stuff you will see live on Twitch. So be sure to be following me over there on Twitch. Twitch.tv/itsthejang. Link in the video description. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.